Okay, picture this. You're sound asleep, maybe in the middle of a really good dream, and then bam! You're jolted awake by this just excruciating pain in your calf. Your muscle is seized up, it's hard as a rock, and you have to literally jump out of bed and try to walk it off.
You know what I'm talking about, right? The good old Charlie horse. Most of us, we just kind of brush it off. We think, well, I guess I'm just getting older. This is what happens. But what if that sudden, sharp pain isn't just a random part of aging? What if it's a really important signal your body's trying to send you?
Because, you see, that agonizing cramp is actually a desperate signal that you are running dangerously low on a critical type of fuel, a fuel that your body uses for hundreds of different jobs. And those cramps, oh, they're just the very, very tip of the iceberg. That fuel is magnesium. It's often called the master mineral, and for good reason. It's in charge of keeping your heart beating steadily, keeping your blood pressure in check, and keeping your whole nervous system calm and relaxed. It is, quite simply, the mineral that keeps your entire body in balance. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll dig into why this signal is so desperate. Then, we're going to talk about the most common warning signs your body sends before moving on to some of the hidden symptoms in the heart and mind. We'll get to the root of the problem, and then, most importantly, we'll finish with a clear, actionable solution.
All right, let's jump right in and really get a handle on the sheer scale of this. Why do they call it the master mineral? Well, honestly, the numbers really do speak for themselves. Magnesium is a major player in over 300, let me say that again, over 300 different biochemical reactions inside your body. Just think about that for a second. Everything from creating energy to building strong bones to making DNA, it all relies on having enough magnesium. When you don't, things start to break down all over the place. Now here's what's truly staggering. Despite how critical it is, some studies suggest that nearly 70% of Americans aren't getting enough magnesium. And for those of us over 50, that number is probably even higher. This makes it one of the most common yet widely ignored deficiencies out there.
So how does your body let you know it's running on empty? Let's talk about the most obvious clues, the ones we tend to dismiss. These are the signals you really need to start paying attention to.
To really get why those muscle cramps happen, you have to understand this beautiful partnership between calcium and magnesium. Think of it like a light switch. Calcium is the on switch. It tells your muscles to contract, to tighten up. Magnesium is the off switch. It tells them to let go and relax. So when you're low on magnesium, your muscles get stuck in the on position. And this isn't just about leg cramps. Ever had a twitching eyelid that won't quit? Or that constant tightness in your neck and shoulders? Yep, that's the switch being stuck on.
Another huge sign is trouble sleeping. You know that feeling of being tired but wired? You lie down, you're exhausted, but your mind is just racing and you can't shut it off. Well, magnesium is like the brake pedal for your brain. It helps a calming neurotransmitter called GABA do its job. Without enough magnesium, that brake pedal is mushy. It doesn't work right. Your brain just stays stuck in fight or flight, making deep, restful sleep feel impossible. And then there's the fatigue. I'm not just talking about being a little sleepy. I mean a deep, down-to-your-bones cellular level of exhaustion. That's because magnesium is absolutely essential for creating ATP. That's the energy molecule for your cells. Without magnesium, your body can't turn the food you eat into actual, usable energy. It's kind of like having a car with a full tank of gas, but you've taken out all the spark plugs. You're just not going to go anywhere.
Okay, so we've covered the aches and the poor sleep, but now we need to talk about some of the less obvious and, frankly, more alarming signs. The ones that affect your heart and your mind. These are the hidden symptoms you absolutely cannot afford to ignore.
Let's start with high blood pressure. You see, just like magnesium relaxes your leg muscles, it also relaxes the tiny, smooth muscle cells that line your blood vessels. When those vessels are nice and relaxed, your blood flows easily. But when you're low on magnesium, those vessels constrict. They tighten up. Now your heart has to pump way, way harder to push blood through that tiny space, and boom, your blood pressure shoots up.
And now for a really scary one, heart palpitations. That just terrifying feeling when your heart seems to skip a beat or you feel a flutter in your chest. Your heart is the most important muscle you've got, and just like your other muscles, it needs magnesium to relax after every single contraction. Low magnesium can create an electrical instability in the heart, leading directly to those frightening little skips and flutters.
This all connects to our mental state too. Do you feel more on edge, more irritable, more anxious than you used to? Well, a magnesium-starved brain is an anxious brain. When your levels are low, your body actually starts pumping out more cortisol. That's the stress hormone. And this creates a really nasty vicious cycle. Stress burns through your magnesium stores, and having low magnesium makes you feel even more stressed.
So this begs the question, right? If this mineral is so incredibly important, why on earth are almost 70% of us walking around without enough of it? The answer, it turns out, has a lot to do with our modern world.
One of the biggest culprits is our soil. I mean, it's that simple. Decades of modern industrial farming have just stripped essential minerals like magnesium right out of the ground. So an apple that you eat today has way less magnesium than an apple your grandparents ate back in 1950. Even if you're eating a really healthy diet, you might not be getting the nutrients you think you are. And it's not just the soil, unfortunately. When we refine foods, turning whole wheat into white flour or brown rice into white rice, we strip out most of the magnesium. Then, on top of all that, our own habits work against us. Eating a lot of sugar, drinking coffee, and consuming alcohol. All of these things basically tell your kidneys to flush this vital mineral right out of your body.
Okay, we've laid out the problem, we've talked about the symptoms, we know the cause. So now, let's get to the most important part, the solution. Let's pivot and talk about what you can actually do to reclaim your health and get your body back in balance.
The first line of defense is always going to be food. And the easiest way to think about it is think green and think seeds. Chlorophyll, the stuff that makes plants green, actually has a magnesium atom right at its core. So load up on things like spinach and Swiss chard. Pumpkin seeds are an absolute powerhouse. A small handful can give you almost half of what you need for the day. Almonds, avocados, and yes, even high-quality dark chocolate are all great sources.
Now, if your symptoms are pretty bad, you might be thinking about a supplement. But, and this is a really big but, you have to be super careful. Because that cheap bottle of magnesium you grabbed at the grocery store, it might be completely, 100% useless.
And here's why that is. It all comes down to the form of magnesium. Most of the cheap, common supplements use something called magnesium oxide. Your body can barely absorb it. In fact, its main effect is as a laxative. What you want to look for instead is magnesium glycinate. This form is super easy for your body to absorb, it's gentle on your stomach, and it's by far the best choice if you're trying to fix sleep issues, anxiety, or those muscle cramps.
You know, in the end, it really all comes down to this. You have to listen to your body. That painful leg cramp, that annoying little eye twitch, that restless night you spend just staring at the ceiling, these are not random glitches. They are clear, direct messages. Your body is talking to you, telling you it needs the right tools to do its job. And that really leaves us with one last thing to think about. What if so many of the things that we just write off as the unavoidable signs of aging, what if they aren't inevitable at all? What if they're actually just signals pointing us toward a simple, powerful solution that's been right there waiting for us all along?